everybody, and welcome to The Speaking, an Anihawks podcast. My name is Daniella.
I'm Alex.
Oh my god, you're so slow!
Listen.
Okay, so I guess we should probably start by telling people what is our background with Animorphs. So what makes you, Alex, qualified to start an Animorphs podcast?
Well, I know about Animorphs, what the fuck? Animorphs entirely through osmosis of knowing you.
You're really filling us with confidence here.
Oh, fuck, Animorphs would be a better name than Anihawks.
Shut up.
Sounds right.
So you've heard Animorphs from me, and how long have you known me?
6 years in like a month.
Yeah, so we've been friends for like 6 years, but I think this is what's really going to put our relationship to the test, because if you disagree with me with anything related to Animorphs, our friendship is going to be over. So, Alex knows nothing about this. Alex knows nothing about these books. He's read one. I personally grew up reading these books. Even though I was born in the wrong decade for them, I still grew up reading them. I've read the entire series cover to cover. I almost cried when I found out you could read them online. I named my cat after an Animorphs character, and I met Catherine Applegate once, and it was one of the best days of my life. So you could say that neither of us are really qualified, but, you know, we have some passion. Okay, so, Alex, as the Animorphs expert, can you give us a long, detailed, close summary of exactly what happens in this novel?
Of course. Well, first of all, you need to know that the entire Animorphs series is the autobiography of a small group of war criminals.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on this already.
And it's the story of how they came to commit such atrocities that their names went down in infamy.
Have they committed any atrocities at this point?
No.
Well, I can think of one. I think, if I recall, the first casualty of Jake's reign of terror was a homeless man that he left to die.
Yeah. The homeless man died.
I didn't notice that at all when I was 11 years old. So, if you could, how did we get to the construction site?
They said, fuck it, let's go to the construction site.
Why?
Because it was getting late or something. I'll be honest, the first note I have for the story is Jake is Team Sonic, because he has a Sega at home. And, related note, there is indeed a Sonic character that is a hawk, so good news for Tobias there.
Oh, Tobias.
It's great news for Tobias. Tobias is Jet the Hawk. I think he skateboards.
Oh, fuck. Does he wear a leather jacket?
I think he might, actually.
Oh, no. Wait, now we gotta pull up a picture. If we put this on YouTube, we'll have to put up a picture.
I've decided I despise Jet the Hawk, because looking at him greatly unsettles me.
Yeah, I'm gonna click away from this tab now. Yeah, so Jake accompanied by his friend Marco, they're at the mall, and then they leave.
Yes.
The story could have started at the construction site.
Yes.
But they're at the mall, and they leave. And who do they meet at the mall?
Rachel and, oh my god, Cassie.
First and last names.
I forgot Cassie. Rachel and Cassie, and Jake has this really, really weird moment where he's like...
Oh my god, yes,
Rachel
please.
is really pretty, but she's like my cousin, so I don't actually see her that way. And I was like, you didn't need to start the conversation.
Yeah,
then,
Jake's
mate.
really into his cousin, isn't he? I wish I could say this is the first and last time he will ever say something to the likes of this.
No. It was so awkward. It was like a paragraph. Like
no, but I also did write down what he said about Cassie, because it was the dumbest thing in the world. He says Rachel's kind of pretty. She's friggin' hot, you know, but I don't like her. I know it's fine. And then he says Cassie is quieter than Rachel, more peaceful. Like she always understands everything. On some different, more mystical level.
Yeah. Cassie's like a demigod, 13. And no one ever mentions
She's 13, and so are you, you idiot.
Yeah.
Cassie doesn't know shit. Oh, Jake makes a sexist comment about his hot cousin.
Oh my god, that was so dumb as well. It's like,
but what was even dumber is that Rachel took it as a sexist comment.
Oh my god!
Like, calm down. The 90s were so weird.
Yeah.
Because, like, everyone wanted equality, but, like, people weren't really good at it.
Yeah.
Like, we're not great at it now, but, you know?
90s, like, feminism in, like, media and stuff was just... I can't explain it right, but it's, like, every time it'd be, like, a man make a slight comment, and then the woman... or in this case the girl, would just be like,
it's like,
oh, what? And like a whole essay when he just like was like, are you okay? Like,
yeah, and like that was empowering to women.
Yeah,
and it's like, I mean, they wanted to be feminists, they just weren't really good at it. They didn't have much practice.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's another reoccurring theme. No, I'm kidding.
oh boy. As we all know, Jake does not respect women. So call out for Jake. War criminal, doesn't respect women. What more?
War criminal and sexist. Some of those yerks were women, probably. So after he makes a sexist comment, Cassie defends him because she is not a feminist. And so they all leave the mall to go to a construction. Oh, and Rachel and Cassie were in the mall because Rachel's a woman, so you know, women be shopping. Cassie is not a real woman. I love Rachel and Cassie. I did not love Cassie, but now I love Cassie. Nobody loved Cassie. I swear, no, because you read these books when you're a child, unless you're you. Yeah. Nobody liked Cassie when they were a kid, unless you were a horse girl. And I was a horse girl, and I still didn't like Cassie. All right, she's a tough one, but she's sweet. So they leave the mall and they're going to go home, and they decide to take a shortcut through a spooky, horrible, tetanus-filled construction site for no reason.
Yeah, they even mentioned being chased by serial killers. Like, hope we don't get chased by serial killers. Like,
yeah, I hope not. You know, I'm big Jake.
Yeah, I'm big. I'm huge. Do you know how big my muscles are? I'm 13 years old.
I once saw Jack.
I'm practically an adult.
I mean, he is big J. I made in preparation for this podcast, I made a tentative list of things that come up a lot with the characters. So I made one for each. So there's a big Jake counter, which is anytime that someone describes Jake as big.
Oh, I actually did something similar. It was only for one character. It was Tobias. I made a bad things happening to Tobias counter.
Oh.
The first count was his introduction, where Jake is like, oh, that's Tobias. I saw him have his head shoved down a toilet once. That's all you need to know about Tobias.
Okay, well, we'll go in chronological order. So, yeah, before they reach the construction site, they meet up with Tobias, who's this spaced-out little idiot who gets made fun of and is blonde and doesn't wear a leather jacket. I don't know where you would get that idea. He's never done that. He's tragic, okay? He's a good boy. I've completely forgotten what happens next. Okay, it's pretty obvious what happens next. So they go to the construction site, and what do they see?
Construction.
Fuck off. Who do they meet in the construction site?
Legolas Elfangor III.
Thank you. His name is Elfangor Cyrenial Shamptol. And he's a dumbass, honestly.
Honestly, yeah.
You have 1 second to think of a way that Elfangor could have escaped and survived this.
Just left the area.
How? It's not like he has any magical powers that could allow him to escape undetected and heal all of his wounds. Fucking Elfangor. He did this on purpose.
I bet Elfangor was just fucking bored of the war. He's like, I'll die, whatever.
Fuck off.
Didn't really like my family that much anyway.
Guess I'll die.
Sorry to jump back in time a little bit. I have a note. I think Tobias or someone makes a Star Trek reference and then gets made fun of for being a geek. Because, of course, as we all know, what kind of idiot watches Star Trek in the 90s? It's so old by that time.
Also, do you remember who said that?
No.
Probably Marco? I'm assuming it's Marco. And Marco does not shut up about every reference in the world. I wrote down all the 90s references. King Kong is in there tentatively because people still remember King Kong. But, you know. So list of 90s references so far was the existence of arcade machines,
Yes.
Storm from the X-Men,
Yes.
X-Men, Star Trek, and the Fantastic Four. And all of those were made by Marco. So Marco needs to shut the fuck up.
If these were like written today, Marco would be referencing like
Rick
not
and Morty.
not like long-lived memes, like short-lived memes that are old as hell by the time the next chapter is even written.
Oh god, when Elfangor lands, Marco just points at him, like his bleeding body. Marco points at him like, "It's that boy."
Oh shit! What up?
That's what Marco would do, and he would make Rick and Morty references.
Oh no! I'm Pickle Marco.
I'm Pickle Mark.
Oh my god.
So Elfangor arrives, and he arrives in a spaceship, which is adorably shaped like an Andalite, which is so weird. It's like a cute little round thing, and then there's like a big tail. So cool. Like, imagine humans, fucking human-shaped ships. That's so dumb.
I'm just imagining like.
Oh my god.
I'm just imagining like one where like the human like designers couldn't figure out how to do hands, so they just got like a shockingly realistic human spaceship but with mitten hands.
I don't like that you said that, because now I pictured it just being like a round little silhouette, and now I'm picturing like a hyper-realistic Andalite-shaped ship.
Good. That's my intention. To disturb and confuse.
Excellent. I know what I'll draw next. And then at one point, I think, okay, I'm going to leave my list of things for you to approve or disapprove until the end. But I wrote down that Elfangor goes, "These are the Hork-Bajir. They are good people. They should be pitied." And then he's like, "The Taxxons are evil."
Oh yeah. That was so fucking funny.
Like, dude, what the hell? You just try like the Yeerks take them over. They are slaves. Hork-Bajir are sad. We should pity them.
Yeah.
But fuck Taxxons. Taxxons are shit.
Fuck Taxxons in particular.
Taxxons, yeah, literally. Like, Taxxons go fuck themselves.
A Taxxon had sex with my wife.
A Taxxon killed my brother. Elfangor's vendetta against Taxxons. That may or may not come back.
They never told you what happened to Axe's like other brother, who was named Knife.
We don't know who that is.
Yeah, of course. You've never ever mentioned.
The audience can't know that you're not going into this 100% blind. If I ask you what happened to Marco's mother, your answer is...
She got married.
Dead! Dead!
She got married to our OC, Karen the Yerk.
Dead!
I almost said Yerk.
No. I have plans. When we get to book 19 is when the character named Karen shows up. You don't know anything. You don't know anything about the character.
I
know
nothing about that character for realsies.
So yeah, because she's boring. Before book 19, episode 18 is going to be about Karen the Yerk. I've decided. We're gonna go a whole anthology about Karen the Yerk. So that when you go into book 19, there's context for why we're giggling the entire time.
Yes.
So look forward to that, audience.
Karen the Yerk is the best OC I've ever had.
Look forward to that, viewers. Karen the Yerk.
Yes.
It's exactly what you imagine.
Stan Karen the Yerk.
So the Taxxons are evil, irredeemable bastards. And the next thing in my notes is just in big capital letters. Oh, Vor!
Oh, I have a small note before we talk about Vor in graphic detail. There's a point where Jake describes a Yerk controller as a grey-green slimy thing, like a snail without its shell, only bigger. So, does he not know what a slug is? Could he not have just said, like, a slug?
They reference slugs so many times. So I guess everyone else knows what a slug is. Maybe Cassie taught him, because Cassie's the only one that knows what an animal is. Maybe Cassie taught them all what slugs are.
Yeah.
She's just mystical like that.
He's like, what is this? It's a snail without its shell.
It's like I don't know. It's like a bird, but no wings and a tail. Jake, it's called a dog.
It's like a sea snail, but on the ground and without any shell.
It's like a deer, horse, scorpion, rabbit, fucking shit thing. Andalites are beautiful and sexy.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god, wait. Are we past the Vor now?
No, I think we're on to the Vor.
Alright, so we're on Vor.
Vor. Yes.
I wrote down the best quote of... I was gonna say book, but I think maybe the entire series. There are some good ones later on, but maybe of the entire series. And I'm gonna have to try to put on a voice here. What I imagine this voice sounding like. So let me see. Nothing like a good ANTAREAN BOGG morph or taking a bite out of your enemy.
I remember that quote. That quote is so fucking weird. Like,
can you believe that people were scared of Visser 3?
Visser 3 is like the funniest character.
Let me run that one. God, he's so good. I'm gonna run that quote by you again because I did laugh midway through. It's a quote. Nothing like a good. Nothing like a good ANTAREAN BOGG morph for ... taking a bite out of your enemies.
I love how he just says it for no reason. Like, he's not trying to intimidate anyone. No one there is gonna be eaten. He's just talking to some yaks. Maybe he eats yaks, I don't know. He does vote people.
I don't know if I want to remind you.
For?
It's a joke I made like yesterday, but I don't want to remind you. No. Yeah, I already said that Jake left a homeless man to die.
Yes. At this point I started for some reason around this point I started reading in the voice, my inner voice was that of Cecil from Welcome to Night Vale.
Oh my god.
And I gotta say, he narrates it. He narrates Animorphs surprisingly well. It is creepy. It's weird.
You mean, including the quotes?
Yes.
Like when Marco is saying, let me find a quote. The Yeerks and spaceships and slugs taking over people's brains? Give me a break.
Yes.
Cecil Palmer said that.
I was reading that it was like Cecil was reading out quotes. It was like very weirdly like perfect. It was an experience. I highly recommend you read these books, pretending that Cecil from Welcome to Night Vale is reading to you.
He's dying, Tobias reminded us. I can't believe I didn't write that down, and I'm not gonna say whatever they say because they're so dumb. But they're like, so Marco's like, he's kidding, right? Because he's talking about like Yeerks and shit.
Yeah. And
then he goes off on a whole rant, like, this is nuts, this is all nuts. This fucking slugs, brains, powered animals break. And then Rachel goes off, yeah, this is so weird, we're weird, this is true. And they go on for like 2 paragraphs. And then funny, it's like a punchline. Tobias says, he's dying. Tobias reminded us. Which instantly reminds you that they're having this rant right in front of this dying man. This dying man who's like, with his last words, is speaking to them. These are his last words. They're like, this guy's nuts. Nutso, brainzo, freakazoid, goober suits. God. Marco is, like, they're all 90s kids, but Marco's such a 90s kid.
Yeah, Marco lives.
He's such a 90s
in
kid.
like a time loop that is just the 90s. He's trying to get out. We can't let that happen.
Yeah. Marco. I think these books ended in the year 2000, and that's when Marco died. So then there's Yerks. How do Yerks work? He calls Rachel pretty again, and he does not call Cassie pretty, even though he's supposed to like Cassie. But that's fine. Okay, so they escape the construction site.
Yes.
And no one gives a shit. Hork-Bajir look like salad spinners.
Yeah. They kill a homeless man.
Yeah, they kill him.
Here's the Jake's war crimes.
Walking salad shooter. They always call Hork-Bajir salad shooters, so we might want to add in an extra tally for salad shooters. And I don't know what a salad shooter is.
Neither do I.
Okay, so Visser 3 has never met Elfangor. He says so. He says, nice to meet you. So just remember that he's never met Elfangor.
Yes.
Yeah. The onomatopoeia in these books is spectacular. have already noticed by now, right?
Yes.
Chew, grarg, rarg. The roar of the beast. The roar of the beast. Rag.
My teeth rattled from the sound. I heard someone whimpering. It was me.
Are we looking at the exact same page?
Yeah.
Friggin' pussy. Can't even watch some vor. Oh my god. Honestly, not to be a wimp, but the line, and even scared to death with tears running down her face, Rachel's had strength to spare, made me cry.
Yeah, that line's pretty good. Rachel's pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like
she's so good.
She has the power of God and 90s anime on her side.
I know. God, there was a lot of build up to the war. The Hork-Bajir controllers began making a huffing sound, like wah, wah, wah. I can't get over Taxxons are evil. Oh my god.
Oh, I got to the ANTAREAN BOGG morph quote, so I'm gonna say it now if you let me.
Oh, please.
Nothing like a good ANTAREAN BOGG morph for taking a bite of your enemies.
Oh, it's beautiful. Now imagine Cecil Palmer saying it. Marco throws up. Everyone panics. Yes. Rachel and I are the fastest runners. Tobias is totally out of shape, and Marco and Cassie are too short to be really fast. Like, bruh.
This calls his best friend really... man there.
Yeah. You could all die, and the last thought you're gonna have is just talking shit about your friend. Rachel and I are friggin' alphas. Tobias is a little bitch, and Marco's a little itty tiny baby.
Trying to run away on his little tiny baby legs.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, Jake falls down like a clumsy idiot because he's too big. And Rachel leaves him like a smart, capable woman.
Apparently Rachel starts swearing.
Oh, I have
And then he's like, oh my god, Rachel can swear? She's probably if I had to pick a character from the series that swore all the time, even though they can't say they swear, I feel like just from the knowledge of what I've read up to here, it'd still be Rachel.
Oh yeah, Rachel. I have in my I said.
And then he's like, I didn't know Rachel could swear.
Yeah, and I'll say them as they come up. But in my counter, I said I had Big Jake counter. There's only one, and there was only one mention of Big Jake in this book, but that's because the book was narrated by Jake. Once we get to Cassie's book, she will start describing him as big. We know what Cassie likes. So there's for Jake, it's the Big Jake counter, and Rachel is just the fuck counter. It's how many times Rachel says fuck. So it's only 2 because it's the first book, but at least 2 different times in this book, Rachel screamed fuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll name the rest as they come up. And
nothing better to help you get away from enemies that rely on their sound to find you than screaming out fuck.
Also, it's so weird how just reading this scene, and they say this already, so it's not like reading the scene and remembering that somehow the Yeerks think that they are Andalites, it just boggles my mind. Like, did all these people die? They were not being secretive.
Yeah.
They're just running away as human children, screaming, fuck! And if Jake and Rachel almost got caught, how did little manlet Marco and Cassie escape? How did they not see them?
I like to think that Cassie just, like, hid, like,
no, Cassie just
the door.
No. Cassie laid down on the dirt, on the soil, and just let the earth cover over her. Like vines spread over her.
Cassie was like, "Oh, thank God, I've prepared all these camouflage things."
And she
just
becomes
in case
one.
something like this happened.
She becomes one with Mother Nature.
Yeah.
That's what Cassie did. Sounds right. Sounds about right for Cassie.
How the fuck did Tobias get away?
Tobias? I mean, he flew away. It's a bird.
Yeah, he.
It wasn't even like a
Tobias
joke.
was like, I'm out of here.
I mean, who cares about Tobias? They probably saw Tobias and he was like, ha, loser, and just ignored him.
Fucking idiot.
Went after the alpha boys, Jake and Rachel.
Yes, of course.
They're escaping. Oh,
Yes.
here's where he kills that man.
Rest in peace, Bob the homeless guy.
Yeah, he'll never come back, ever. Okay, so here we are. Now Jake is at home, somehow. It's like when you come home drunk, which I've never done. But this sounds just like how John Mulaney described it. Wait, this doesn't make sense. Wait, so he says he made it home, and then he says, I called around to the others, and then, but does he mean this kind of reads like while he was sleeping, he called out to the others?
Yeah.
But, like, that's not what he's saying. I don't know. Anyway, so then he's at home, and Tobias, who, let me remind you, when Jake introduced Tobias, he said that Tobias was just some random loser kid who he defended, not, like, saved, just, like, defended.
Yes.
He basically just told some bullies to fuck off.
Yes.
And then Tobias latched onto him.
Yes.
But he was quick to say that they are not friends, because,
Yes.
you know, Tobias is a loser.
And then, of course,
But he was quick
Tobias
to say
shows
that
up
they are
at his
not friends.
house.
Tobias knows where he lives.
Yeah.
Jake
It's like,
like, he knows.
it's like from The
Jake-
Shining.
No, Tobias knows where Jake lives. Jake knows that Tobias has like abusive aunt and uncle,
Yeah.
which is not something that you reveal the first time meeting someone.
Yeah.
Jake knows the name of Tobias's cat, who, by the way,
Which, I gotta say, I didn't know... I didn't know Tobias had a cat, and B, didn't know that his cat was named Dude.
yeah, what the fuck kind of name is Dude? That's worse than the name.
Yeah.
That's worse than my cat's name. Ask me what my cat's name.
What is your cat named?
Tobias.
I can't believe you named your cat after Tobias and not after Tobias's cat.
Do you think I hate my cat? And my cat's a girl cat, but I just love Tobias that much. I'll also put a picture of Toby. I'll of course put a picture of Toby.
I can vouch Toby is the cutest cat ever. Love her.
She's wonderful.
She's a darling.
Yeah. There is a character called Toby, and she's not named after that character. She's named after Tobias specifically. No shade to Toby, but it's just so funny that there's also a Toby.
God.
Oh my god.
You just named it Toby instead of Tobias because then it would be less obvious. But you also tell everyone you meet that you named your cat after Tobias.
Yeah, and then Tobias becomes a furry. Tobias is very, very important to me. Like, listen, I can say, and this is only my opinion, I think that overall, Marco is probably the best written character, like the most solid character. However, Tobias is sad boy.
Yeah.
And I love Tobias.
He's a hawk.
Shut the hell up.
He's a hawk.
Tobias is sad boy, so he's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's a quote from Rachel. So Tobias becomes a furry out of nowhere.
Yeah, Tobias also has the great quote, I became Dude.
That could be a 90s quote. I became dude. Puts on a leather jacket. I became dude.
Puts on a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah. That's Tobias. No, I don't think they showed Tobias turn into dude in the TV show, and I think the leather jacket, that's what they were trying to imply. Alex has seen about one episode of the TV show.
Oh yeah,
and I'm sure
we've also heard the opening quite a bit.
We're gonna edit in the opening.
Yes,
if it's not,
there is going to be an interesting version of the opening.
Yeah, it's we won't give it away. We won't give it away. So Tobias morphs dude in front of Jake. And then he morphs. Oh, they play with string, and it's genuinely really cute.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's so weird, but it's also cute. I'm glad that Tobias got to feel joy for a moment there.
Yeah, this is the only time in his entire life that Tobias feels anything remotely close to joy.
Yeah, joy is an emotion that Tobias feels very often. As you can tell, because his name is Tobias.
I like to think he was named after the serial killer in Criminal Minds.
There are about, like, 5. Because I remembered one the other day. There are about 5 fictional Tobiases in my life, and they are all just sad, abused, sad boys. Like, just so unlucky and little shits.
And how many of them have killed people as well? I gotta ask you that.
No, at least 4 of them. I already forgot. 5! All 5! Oh my god! And potentially 6, my cat. I don't know. All 5 of them have at least accidentally killed people. Oh my god.
You gotta watch your background, Toby.
Oh my god. Toby's, like, sneaking up on me. with a knife.
Yeah. A little knife.
Like, she has claws, but she's holding a knife.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So he plays with Tobias. Oh my god, wait, I never realized that. Oh, he says that dude is a gray-black cat. He's like, Toby!
Oh my god, you're right!
That.
It's
oh
perfect.
My gosh! Toby is... Oh my god, Toby is Tobias in Morph. Oh my god.
Amazing.
This is a revelation.
This honestly, is a damn conspiracy.
After you read more of these books, I hope that you also, like, deep in the back of your mind, when you see an animal acting weird, just very, very soft voice in the back of your head. Animorph.
Animorphs.
You look up at a group of birds just, like, acting weird and like, I'm on your side. I got you. I've read your books. I've read your books, Jake. Oh my god. I've met your publisher.
I know someone who's met your publisher.
I think I remember that in, like, the first, yeah, because these are ebooks. I remember in the first publication, she wrote that Jake could thought speak to Tobias. That's what the little carrot things are. That's thought speak. I don't know if they say. I don't know if they named it by name. But they had Jake thought speaking to Tobias while he was a human. And then they just quickly retconned that. In the version I'm looking at, it's not there. But I know that was there. I remember.
Okay.
I can't find... I have, like, at least 2/3 of the books by now. Solely from thrift shops. I've scoured the earth.
I respect that. There's an absurd number of books.
Online.
If you got them from anywhere other than a thrift shop, you would be a capitalist pig.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Because I don't buy things online, because I'm an idiot. So yeah. And I can't find book 1, even though I definitely have it. Because the other day you know what? We don't have to talk about how much how many Animorphs things I do. We don't need to talk about why I had to get out, like, 15 of the books for reference. Anyway.
That should be another special episode, like, where we explain that.
Yeah. Yeah, every time there's a book, one of the books that I definitely have but can't find on the shelf, I'll give one more snippet.
Yeah.
So that was just the intro.
Yes.
Yeah, so Tobias is there. What else did I write? Oh, I also, of course, Jake has a minivan, and of course, Jake has a golden retriever named Homer. Of course he does. He's so white. Just a white boy. He's so good. He's so boring, though.
Yeah. I can't believe he's looking after furry Homer Simpson.
That was a shit-ass joke.
That's the best joke I had.
Yeah, that was shit. My God. Oh, and this is the first time that someone arbitrarily names Jake the leader because he's big and white.
Yeah, there is no reason at all.
It's so
There's
contrived.
no reason behind Jake being the leader apart from Tobias being like, I don't want to be the leader. You specifically now have to be the leader. Like, okay.
In the end, Jake being the leader did work out, but Rachel would have been the one. Everyone would have looked at Rachel and thought leader, first off.
Yeah.
Second of all, later on, Marco would be the one to be like, everyone would look at Rachel and think leader, and Rachel would be leader.
Leader.
And then everyone would look at Marco and say leader. And then Marco would be like, not me, but everyone would still want leader.
Yeah.
Jake would be one of the last people because if Jake wasn't the leader of this group, there would be nothing special about Jake. And I love Jake. I love Jake a lot, but there is nothing special about Jake. He's a good boy, and people just force him into being the leader.
Yeah, for no reason whatsoever. Hey, listen, buddy, I have a feeling I'm going to commit a war crime soon, and I would like you to be responsible for it instead of me, so I'm making you the leader.
Yeah. I think I look at you, Jake, and I see willing to sacrifice his loved ones. Yes, Jake. Wait a minute. Wait. Was this more foreshadowing? So at the end, I wrote down like the amount of foreshadowing for Tobias getting trapped in Morph is just staggering.
Yeah, it's real ridiculous.
And I think I just caught another one where when Tobias is talking to him, like after he morphed dude, Jake says he just looked at me with those deep, troubled eyes I can now see only in my memory. What the hell does that mean? Was that more foreshadowing? He's literally looking at him.
Just,
oh my God, it's so insane. I'm glad that at least it happened in this book.
yes.
It'd be even worse if like they left it to like book 3 and then Tobias gets trapped in Morph and they're like, yeah, we knew.
Yeah.
We knew since like page 10.
Yeah. So then Jake turns into his dog. And he starts barking at his actual dog.
That's
like
cute.
The meme that I'm about to send you.
Oh no.
Oh fuck.
We'll put this in the comments too.
Yes, of course. Let me try and... apparently I can't send it to you because I'm an idiot.
Is it same hat?
No, it's... And where did that other dog come from? Who is he?
Let me look it up.
Yeah, it was really fucking hard to find.
Well, I found it immediately, so...
Don't look at me.
That is very funny, though.
I figured that fit perfectly.
Yeah.
My next note is when Tom comes in. My note was just a quote from the thing, and then me saying the series has reached its best. Joe is over, folks.
I mean, I think the ANTAREAN BOGG morph was that.
The quote was, "Bad dog," Tom said to me. "You keep quiet. Bad dog." And then he left. I was devastated.
No!
I wasn't a bad dog. Not really. I was just barking because some other dog was in my yard. Bad dog. I was a bad dog? No, I wanted to be a good dog. I crept in the corner, utterly miserable. Tobias knelt down and patted my head. When he scratched me behind the ears, I felt a little better.
Dude, you should be the audiobook narrator. I felt that. I felt that emotion. I'm so sad. No, Jake, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. I'm not calling you a good dog because I'm not a furry, but you're a good boy.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy. He's so valid. Even when he does war crime, he's valid while doing it.
Yeah.
And I like how Tom says to Jake, Jake's like, yeah, Tobias said you were looking for me for. And Tom's like, I just wanted you to shut your dog up. As if it's not Tom's dog also.
Yeah.
Like, what?
They actually let fucking Jake keep this random dog he found as long as he's the only one that looks after it at age 13, where he's just playing with his Sega all day.
Oh my god, no. He found he found a stray dog and just decided to take care of it. But that stray dog was a freaking golden retriever named Homer. It reminds me of this awful movie. I don't remember if you were there. I think maybe you were there for part of it, but it was like 2 a.m. for you. Called Love on a Leash. And I know how it sounds, audience, but it's not what it sounds like. But the only thing that matters is that the main dog character, because the main character is a dog and a woman, it's called Love on a Leash, and it's not what you think.
Oh, I remember that. I was only there for a bit, but I remember that. I remember that because you asked me to watch it with you, and I said very clearly, I am your friend, but I don't want to watch something called Dog on the Leash with you.
I know. Love on a Leash, which is even worse. And the only thing that matters is that the dog in it was supposed to be like a poor stray dog just wandering the street until the woman took it into her home. But the poor, dirty, sad stray dog was this like big, healthy, happy golden retriever. As if a dog like that would ever be a stray dog. Like, I'll also put in a picture of that beautiful, golden, happy, healthy, clean golden retriever. It just cracks me up. Anyway.
That was such a surreal experience.
Here's the first. I said there was only he only said it once this book because it was narrated by him. But yeah, here's a line. I looked over at Tom. I looked over at Tom. I'm writing in his voice, what I imagine he sounds like. I looked over at Tom. He's bigger than me, even though I'm not exactly small. I had always trusted him. He wasn't like a lot of guys who pound on their younger brother. What? Is that normal?
I also love the fact that Tom has been a part of a club called The Sharing, and absolutely no one, like, I'm not blaming Jake on this because he's like 13, but like, there's got to be some adults who are not controlled by yerks who see these people going to this club called This Sharing, and how the hell they figure out that, how they don't realize it's a cult.
It's a cult.
I have no fucking clue.
It's a cult, and it's not even because, and I'm not saying who started it or any details, but it's not like it's an accidental cult. Like, the person who started The Sharing meant for it to be a cult.
Yeah.
They researched cults and started a cult. They researched human cults.
They meet up in a basement of a school, like, after dark. What could they possibly be doing that isn't like a cult?
They go hang out on the beach, but at night.
Yeah, who the fuck hangs out on a beach at night unless you're part of a cult or getting drugs?
Yeah, hanging out, playing volleyball and stuff on a beach is like the most innocent and unsuspicious and non-threatening thing you could possibly do. But they decided to do it at night. Yeah, which is immediately suspicious.
They don't even have to do it at night. There's no reason for it to be at night. They just wanted to do it to be suspicious.
I know. They weren't even doing secret stuff. Like, they were talking, like, a little suspiciously, but it's not like they were at, like, a meeting, like, this or three wants us to kill the humans, you know?
Yeah.
They were being very vague.
Yeah.
Also, The Sharing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because it's the first book. I say this as if I haven't read more books and can confirm or deny. But, you know, maybe it's just because these are for kids. But they really hype up. I don't know what I'm supposed to believe because they really hype up the yerks, like human controllers, as being like impossible to tell.
Yeah.
But they never are. Like, it's always so obvious.
Oh, I also had to note, hang on, where is it? I love how unconvincing all of the yerks are. I don't know if it's intentional or just because they're using 90s slang, which is just incredibly off-putting to me.
I wish I had wrote down the quotes, but they're so obvious. Like Tom is just like, hey Jake, I know I haven't spoken to you in like 12 years, but you know, there were some suspicious kids, you know, nothing happened though, you know, it's no big deal. Aliens, am I right? Aliens aren't real. Hey Jake, what about The Sharing? Aliens aren't real. Yeah, The Sharing is so a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, you know. There's no aliens. That's freaking crazy talk, Jake. Who said anything about aliens? Not me. Aliens aren't real. I don't know aliens. I'm not an alien. Hey, join The Sharing.
It's so... Yeah. The Sharing. We're probably not a cult.
Marco laughed his sardonic laugh. Just say sarcastic.
I refuse to believe that Jake knew the word sardonic as well.
I know, right? Marco, I don't know if Marco, let me think. Would Marco? I think Marco would. He would be like, this is my sardonic voice. Because Jake would be like, don't be so sarcastic. And Marco like, I'm being sardonic?
Yeah. I think Marco's one of those people who, like, knows, like, some super obscure words, but then, like, he doesn't know how to pronounce Colonel.
No, I'm wrong. Marco would just laugh it off, but then Rachel, who was there listening, Rachel would be like, it's sardonic. That's what would happen. I have these characters down. I thought Marco was a lot funnier when I was a child, I'll be honest. He's so dumb. I love him still. But Marco was funnier 10 years ago. So yeah, this is Marco's thing is the dead mom counter. So it's the number of times he mentions his dead mom. And it's okay because she's dead and you don't know anything. But 3 times in this one book, they bring up Marco's dead mom.
His mum is on the run for tax evasion. She was Tobias's partner in crime.
His mom is Tobias's aunt. Everyone in these books is related.
Yeah.
And Jake, I guess because he's 13, like, he's a 13-year-old boy, so he's, like, not very sensitive about these things. But the way he describes Marco's tragedy is pretty shitty. Also, the way he, like, mentions Tobias, but, like, it's not quite as bad because he doesn't go into quite as much detail. If I get to, like, Jake voice, like, 2 years ago, Marco's mom died, period.
Died.
She drowned, period.
She drowned.
They never even found her body. So, this is his best friend who lost his mother only 2 years ago, which is not too long.
And then he's just like, his dad lost it big time. He totally fell apart.
Yeah, he quit his job. Now he's a shitty job. Can't even support him. He spends his days sleeping. He's depressed. They never even found her body. Jesus! Like, it's because he's a 13-year-old boy, but oh my god.
And then it's like, I wondered if I should go pat him on the back or something. But if I had, Marco being Marco would have just have said something sarcastic. Have you never, like, shown him any sympathy for his mother's death?
He's at her funeral, and he gives Marco a high five. Like, man, it's okay, man. High five. Want to go play some Sonic? Oh, pat him on the back. He definitely did not give his best friend a hug when his mother died. And when they were 11, I think they're like 12 or 13 yes. right now.
Something like that.
So they were like 10, 11.
As the expert on this series in
this boy's mother dies, and Jake's like, yeah, she drowned. They never even found her body. Wink. Wink, wink. Don't worry, we have a few more books of foreshadowing, of extremely unsubtle foreshadowing. These books, they're for children. And I'm bad at clues, so I didn't get the foreshadowing.
I mean, if I read it as a kid, I probably wouldn't pick up on anything.
I would not have picked up on the Tobias thing. I know I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked up on that, but I've read the phrase, they've never found their body, so many times. If it ever comes up, I just assume, that person's alive.
She's alive.
I wouldn't have picked up on anything else.
She's alive, and she's sexy. I need you. Alex knows a little too much. So I've definitely, the entirety of Visser, I've live blogged to him. So yeah, he knows. The only reason I'm doing this is to make him read Visser, because so that he can be as gay for Visser 1 as I am.
Yes. I don't remember which one Visser 1 is, I'll be honest with you.
Good. The description of Cassie morphing from a horse to a human reminded me of one of all the morphing descriptions in these books are horrific.
Yeah.
They only get worse. They're horrible. And it just reminded me of the cover of one of the books. I think it's book 14, where Cassie is morphing a horse. And it's horrible. It's so bad. Let me get a picture.
The book covers are pure
They're
art.
horrible.
They should go in a museum.
They were in an exhibit, and I went to see that exhibit. Some of the Animorphs covers were in an exhibit in a museum in New York City, and I went. I did, and I promise. Wait, book 14. I just typed in book 14. I didn't put Animorphs. I gotta show you the awful half horse face.
Anything to get Jet the Hawk off of my screen, because I swear to God.
Yeah, good idea.
What the fuck is that?
That middle one. The middle one
hate that.
is horrible. It's so bad.
Oh, I despise that.
David Mattingly, you monster. Yeah, so the exhibit was for David Mattingly, who is a real-life artist who makes art and also made the Animorph book covers. This was the pinnacle of, like, 90s digital imaging. Like, absolutely. This was so high-tech and advanced, like, it's actually insane. It's so funny. This was so cool in the 90s. I mean, I wasn't there. We're not 90s kids, by the way. Like, if anyone's wondering, we're not 90s kids.
Well, technically we were.
Yeah, we were both born on the exact same day, in December 1999.
Yeah. We were around in the 90s. We mostly just cried and, like, slept, but still.
Yeah, shit ourselves.
Yeah.
The birthday thing is just a coincidence. Very suspicious one, though.
No, we're totally twins. You can tell from our accents.
Yeah, we're twins. We're twins.
Yeah.
And then this cop is so obvious also.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, morning, you kids hiding something?
The most obvious part is...
Where,
The most obvious part is when the policeman goes, we want these kids. The policeman said, we want them real bad. See, it was dangerous what they did. Could have been someone hurt. So we want to find the kids. Like, fucking, you sure that...
And then Jake...
I wonder if this policeman is human.
Jake has a huge brainwave. He's like, suddenly I knew he was one of them.
Oh, I don't know how I knew.
I just had a strange feeling. Intuition, I guess.
Oh, and then it makes it even more obvious that the sharing is a cult, and even more obvious that the sharing is run by the Yerks.
Oh yeah, he brings up the sharing, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's like, Tommy's your brother, eh? Well, he's a good kid. I know him from the sharing. I'm one of the adult supervisors. Great group, the sharing. You should come to a meeting.
You should come to a meeting. We have a lot of fun. Yeah. You're too smart to believe a bunch of crazy lies, aren't you?
Yeah, it's like, first of all, you could not be more obvious. Second of all, I realise Jake is probably in denial about his brother, but everyone else should immediately go, I think I know why Tom's been a bit distant lately. He's got an alien in his brain.
Yeah. My God. Finally, the policeman took off. Rachel immediately assuming charge as the one who would obviously be the leader. Again, like, later on, it's clear that Jake was a good pick. But right now, Rachel and if Marco wasn't being such a bitch, then it would be Marco. And right now, Rachel is the leader. Honestly, by the end game, guess who obviously would be the best leader?
Viscid 5.
Fuck off. Tobias is like the best leader. The end game is so weird.
Like a bunch of kids circled around this like hawk.
Yeah.
And the hawk is dead silent, and the kids are just nodding them. Great plan.
Yeah.
See you on Tuesday, Tobias.
Oh yeah, Jake being so unsettled. Oh yeah, he's like, I decided to be a gentleman and turn around. Like, thanks, Jake. Good job.
Great job, Jake.
Oh my God, I got another notification from BitLife telling me that my house is being robbed. It's so stupid. Freaking Cassie, of course, getting off topic. He's like, I don't want to stop morphing. You realize all we could do? We could communicate with animals. Help save endangered species.
I have a question. How would turning into an animal help endangered species?
well,
aside from the obvious,
yeah,
which they were a little too young to do. Like, seriously, what was she planning on doing? Like, you can save animals as a human.
Yeah,
like,
you can't communicate with, like, when you're morphed as a cat, you can't communicate with a cat. Like, I mean, the most would be, like, when you're a cockroach, you could, like, send cockroach signals.
Yeah. But,
like, you can't, as a human cockroach, be like, hello, fellow cockroach, come, let us breed. And it would just follow you.
Is BitLife robbing your house again?
Yes, I'm gonna shut my phone off.
His great line, I vote we try to live long enough to get driver's licenses, Marco said.
Yeah, big talk from Marco, who cannot drive. It is a running commentary that Marco cannot drive.
Yeah.
Granted, he is 13, but for some reason, he still gets made fun of for not being able to drive.
Yeah, and then the next thing Marco sneers, is he calls Visor 3 a freakazoid.
Suddenly now you want to kick butt on that Visor 3 freakazoid? Also, it says, Tobias said nothing, but a blush spread up to his neck?
Up to his
neck? Wouldn't you blush in your face?
Yeah.
And then your blush from your cheeks would go down to your neck?
Yeah.
Like, was his chest blushing and it just spread up to his neck? His collarbones just turns red.
He starts glowing.
His tail turns red. He becomes a red-tailed hawk.
So ridiculous.
Oh my god.
I love it.
Oh, also, Rachel liking Tobias is so unsubtle. And I swear there's a scene later where Jake, and it's not intentional, I know, but Jake sounds like he's jealous. Oh, here's Tom again. Like, cool, you know, Jake, we haven't been hanging around. He snaps his fingers. You should learn the shearing.
Oh, here's the great scene where Tom is interrogating Jake like a normal human being.
But he's pretending like he's being like chill about it, but in this obvious interrogation.
Yeah. Flying
so
saucers,
dumb.
He said. He laughed again. Only complete dibs believe that kind of stuff. He leaned close. You don't believe that, do you?
He leaned close.
Aliens and spaceships and little green men from Mars?
No, you gotta lean close to the mic.
Oh, right. Hang on. Flying saucers, he said. He laughed again. Only complete dips believe that kind of stuff. He leaned close. You don't believe that, do you? Aliens and spaceships and little green men from Mars.
That was awful. But not suspicious at all.
Yeah.
I don't think that you're a yerk. So, well, you know, could one of us be a yerk? Out of the two of us, who would be most likely?
Probably me.
Audience, vote. One person listening, vote on who you think is the most likely to be a yerk.
We greatly appreciate.
We really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you're not a yerk.
Tom just grinned. He punched me in the shoulder. Catch you later.
I also love... Okay, I could be remembering this wrong, but don't, like, the yerks get, like, at least part of the, like, memory or something? Why are they acting so weird? Surely they can remember, like...
They get all...
How to talk.
They get absolutely
like
everything. Like, a yerk should...
There! So they should be able to talk like normal people.
I don't know. There's 3 possibilities? I guess 4? Okay, there's 3 possibilities in canon, and there's one more possibility, which is just that she's trying to make it obvious for kids. But possibility 1 is that Tom's yerk is just... Well, all of the yerks are just bad at this, and the Animorphs are exaggerating, and Elfangor was exaggerating.
Yeah.
2 is that this is just how people talked in the 90s. And 3 is that this is how Applegate thinks people talked in the 90s. And I don't know which is more likely, honestly. I legitimately don't know. Because, I mean, she was, like, a grown woman. Like,
yeah,
it's possible that she was out of touch with what teenage boys said.
But I have no idea.
I think because it's the 90s, like, I can't pick up on how well she captures this essence.
Yes.
Like, maybe 90s kids were saying, like, freakazoid. They would have dropped more slurs, though. Oh, yeah, Jake punches Marco in the face, just like he does his walls. Tom never attacks me. Where did you learn all this violence, Jake? Like, honestly, would you do that if your friend... Like, even if I told you, I think your brother is laundering money, would you punch me in the face immediately?
No, I go up to my brother and demand that he give me some of the money.
You know what I mean, though, but, like,
yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
I know teenage white boys are like this, but, like, come on, Jake.
I feel like if I'm friends with someone enough that they tell me, I'd be friends enough with them to know that A, they're not joking, and B, they think it's real enough that, like, they want to tell me about it despite, like, the trouble it will cause. So I would try to take them seriously.
Yeah, and he clearly...
And not punch them in the face.
He clearly didn't think that... Like, I mean, Marco jokes a lot, but I mean, Like, he clearly did not take it as a joke.
Yeah.
Like, if Marco said that to me, I mean, I wouldn't assume it was a joke because I'm not dumb, but, you know. Also, Marco wouldn't joke about family because you never even hugged him when his mom died.
Yeah, don't forget his fucking mum is quote-unquote dead.
I have 3 instances of Marco's the winner so far with 3 dead moms. Yeah, there's still. Oh, I never mentioned because it was back when she was first introduced. The counter for Cassie and Cassie's and Rachel's I'm not sure about. The first 3 I am sure about. The counter for Cassie is just mystical. Yeah. So every time Cassie does something like mystical, like romanticized Mother Earth crap, it goes on the counter. So she has 2 mysticals. Oh, here it is. Tobias swoops in. Some kind of huge bird. Let me in, all right? It's fucking idiot. Is he naked again? Yeah, he's naked again. Tobias is a freak. Tobias is a freak. He keeps swooping into Jake's room naked. Oh my god, and here it is. Here it is. You want to know what Tobias's counter is?
What is it?
Thermals. We have the thermals counter. He has 2 so far. He will have 800. Applegate learned 1 fact about birds, and she's determined to use it.
No, she learned 2 things because of the duck thing as well.
The ducks. Oh, I can't wait for the duck book in like 3 years.
Great.
The thermals. He doesn't shut the hell up about thermals. He's so depressed, Tobias commented. Who's depressed? Cassie's dad? Like, that's a dumb thing to say. But also, Tobias didn't give any context, so it's the reasonable thing to assume.
Yeah.
He's like, Jake's like, you're lucky Cassie's dad didn't catch you, I said to Tobias. And then Tobias is like, he's so depressed. Who's depressed? Cassie's dad? He's like, no, the hawk. I'm like, okay, sorry, Tobias.
I also love that Jake doesn't know that, like, injuries aren't in the DNA.
No. That's one of these things. That's one of my...
Because this legend, A, doesn't know what DNA is, and B, doesn't know what slugs are.
He's 13. It's the 90s. They didn't know what DNA was.
That doesn't excuse the slug thing.
Yeah, I know. But, sorry, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, and also, first of all, Tobias, no one could have known that you were talking about the freaking bird. But second of all, you aren't the bird. Actually, it's kind of sad now that I'm saying this, because, like, I think Tobias is just registering his own emotions. Because, like, Tobias is not that bird. Tobias is Tobias. He just looks different now. Like, God. You say that that hawk that he saw once is depressed. He doesn't know that. He's not the hawk. I think Tobias is just registering that Tobias is depressed and just attributing that to the hawk, which is sad. But oh my god.
And then Tobias mentions Yerk balls, and Marco and Jake exchange a suspicious look, like they think Tobias is a Yerk.
Yeah, Tobias feels like is so suspicious in these books.
Yeah, it feels like it's foreshadowing, but then...
Yeah.
I have no idea if it leads anywhere, so...
No, please speculate. It's more fun that way.
Okay. See, I would think, like, maybe Tobias can, like, overhear Yerk conversations or something. Like, if I was reading this and I knew nothing about it, that's what I'd assume. Like, he, like, had some sort of ability or something that let him overhear Yerk conversations from further away.
Honestly, I'm the same way. I don't know why he's...
It's a weird line.
I haven't read this book in a while.
It's obvious foreshadowing, but, like, weird as well.
But is it? Like, I'm being serious here. I don't know what this is foreshadowing. Like, there's something about Tobias that, like, there's something unique about Tobias, you know?
Yes.
But it feels like foreshadowing for something. But basically, the plot twist about Tobias has nothing to do with this. Basically. So I have no fucking idea. It's so weird. I think Tobias is what Cassie wishes she was.
Basically. And then Tobias
like
just, like, explains everything about what a Yerk ball is, and Candrona particles. Like,
excuse me, what was that? Candrona?
yes.
It's not a Cadrona, like I said for like 12 years. Even though there's clearly an N in there.
The famous silent N.
And I just ignored it.
I also love that Tobias' suggestion is to blow up the yak pool. Like, Tobias knows where to buy some C4.
Yeah, which is also very unlike Tobias. That's a Rachel quote.
Yeah.
Don't make me hurt you, I warned him angrily. Jesus Christ, Jake.
To be fair, this is definitely very realistic 13-year-old dialogue.
I know, but not Jake. Jake is a good boy. I think Jake becomes a gooder boy. Like, he starts off like a shitty...
After he commits war crimes?
No. He starts off as a shitty teenage boy, and then he turns into a gooder boy, and gooder boy,
and
up until he suddenly turns into a bad boy. Also, Marco is so mean in this book. Like, am I, like, right?
Yeah. Was he insulting Tobias for no goddamn reason?
Yeah, Tobias did nothing to him. Like, he's honestly being so, like, he gets better, I guess, but he's being so mean to Tobias in this book, and maybe they just decided to change his character a little bit. But yeah, Tobias is, like, trying to talk about it, and he's like, suddenly the wimp is a hero. He's sneered. Yeah. You don't even fight for yourself. As if you do, Marco.
And then Tobias replies with a superhero line.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Maybe I just found something worth fighting for, Marco.
Yeah, Tobias is such a nerd. Oh, I love him.
He's so good.
But also, Tobias is right. Like, Marco isn't obligated to fight, to risk his life for any of this.
Yeah.
But Marco is in the wrong, is objectively in the wrong for, like, making light of this Andalite sacrificing his life for them. You know? Yes. Like, Marco's not obligated to join this fight.
Marco is a 13-year-old. He's not obligated to fight in a war.
But he doesn't have
the
right...
He doesn't need to, like, make fun of his fellow 13-year-olds who are fighting in a war.
And he doesn't have the right to, like, talk shit about this cause that this Andalite died for. Like, calm down. Calm down. Like, his reasoning is supposed to be that his dad would, like, be sad, and that's nice. That's noble. I believe him. Like, I believe
that's a fine reason, but, like...
Yeah.
That's just rubbing it into Tobias even more. That he doesn't have any family that cares about him at all.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's like, yeah, my mom died. Tobias is like, yeah, me too, I think. I don't even know. That's how shitty my family is.
And then Tobias suggests blowing up the yak pool again.
We blow it up and kill every one of those evil slugs. I think, honestly,
wow. Tobias advocating a war crime right here.
Yeah. To be completely honest, I think they it's the first book.
Yes.
Honestly, it's the first book. So they, like, definitely don't have a grasp on these characters.
Yeah.
Because this is a quote from Rachel.
Yes.
We blow it up and kill this evil slugs. That's a quote from Rachel.
Yes.
Marco it's a quote from Tom, but it's a quote from Visser 3. Like, Jake and Cassie are pretty spot on, honestly. Well, no, Jake is so violent. Cassie is the only one that's spot on, because Cassie is just Catherine Applegate. Like, you know, it's so obvious if you, like, know anything about them, and so, since it won't come from the books, it's not exactly a spoiler. But yeah, Cassie is obviously Catherine Applegate, yes. And Marco is obviously her husband. And it's really funny because she set Cassie up with this random white boy instead of her husband.
That's amazing.
And, like, how does the husband feel about this? Marco is so him. Marco's so him that Marco's gay. Remember when Michael Grant, like, created gay rights by making Marco bisexual? Oh, and then Marco also uses his mother's death as a bit of a weapon.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not exactly some video game, is it? This is reality. You don't know anything about reality, Jake. Nothing bad has ever really happened to you.
But you're trying to tell him his brother is, like, possessed by an alien, and then you're telling him, oh, nothing bad's ever happened to you, you fucking asshole.
Also, can I say again, Tobias is right there.
Yeah, Tobias is right there. He's right fucking there.
Tobias is standing there, dead silent. The last thing Tobias said was, maybe the sharing is a cult. And And then a great line. Jake's like, his voice cracked a little. He never talked about his mom's death. He doesn't shut up about it. And then Jake, the idiot, is like, I realized he was right. I didn't know about reality. Not the way reality had happened to Marco. And to Tobias.
And to Tobias.
Jake!
Tobias was right there.
But also Jake, like, just because Marco has suffered something, like, a very specific thing, doesn't mean that you have also not experienced hardship in some way. Like, yes, Jake's mother did not die, but, like, you know? Like, Jake is not a hypocrite for doing this. It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh my god. He sent Tobias an angry look. Like, why is he so mad at Tobias? Like, he has something against him, right? Like, Marco never got along.
He's got to at this point.
Like, Marco never got along with Cassie, not really. And Rachel is always attacking Marco at every opportunity. But for some reason, and Marco's best friends with Jake, so, you know, they have permission to shit on each other a little bit. But for some reason, like, Marco's target is just Tobias. And knowing that Tobias gets made fun of a lot, like, it's concerning.
Yeah.
Like, is Marco one of the bullies? Because that's what it sounds like.
Yes.
It's so weird.
Is Marco, like, jealous that, like...
I know, right?
Jake is talking to him?
Jake said that, like, it was recent. And, like, that's kind of what it's... And, like, I don't know. Like, is that valid? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he is, like, jealous. Even though Tobias definitely is not, like, stealing him away from Jake, because Tobias can't... Tobias has no backbone at that point. Like, he could never.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and they decide that the sharing is a cult.
Yes.
And then they also decide, okay, let's go check it out.
Yeah, let's join this cult.
Idiots.
And then I love the mental image of Vista 3 and a bunch of Taxxons playing volleyball.
That was so cute.
But, like, anime volleyball, so they're all wearing, like, stupid bikinis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Wait, is this a thermals mention that I missed? I think I missed a thermals mention. Let me put that in tentatively. 3 thermals in one book. There was no way these guys were aliens. They're playing beach volleyball at night. And it's a cold night. He says the night air was chilly. And it's probably the middle of winter. There's no way these guys are aliens. And then Tom, this is the most suspicious part of all the incredibly suspicious things Tom has said. It's like, the sharing can do all kinds of things for you once you're a full member. How do you get to be a full member? He smiled mysteriously. Oh, that'll come later. Once you become a full member, the whole world changes.
And then human Tom, like, manages to get through for a second, and his face sort of twitches.
Oh God, he's so bad at his job.
And
you're Tom.
My note is human Tom doesn't want Jake to join up. Sad face.
I mean, at least they could, like, when they're, like, in cages, they could talk. That'd be kind of fun. Marco and Cassie came over. They had just finished playing Frisbee in the surf with some other kids. Marco would not play Frisbee with Cassie. Yeah, wait. Tom, the real Tom, not the Yerk slug in his brain.
Now he knows what a slug is. I bet Cassie had to teach him, like, the next day.
I was about to say, he mentioned, like, oh, these Yerks, they're like weird snails, but, like, without a shell. I'm like, you mean a slug, Jake? Oh, okay. And now he's just trying this new word out.
I'm sorry, but your impression of Jake there sounded like you were trying to voice, like, Killua from Hunter x Hunter.
His name's Jake.
Yeah.
My name is Jake.
That's fucking perfect.
Nothing is normal here, says Cassie. Can't you feel it? So here's another mystical that I missed. Cassie just came from, like, laughing and playing, and now once Jake is like, I think there's something weird here, suddenly Cassie's like, yeah, nothing is normal. All these so-called members, so perfectly normal. All the time their eyes are watching you, following you, like a hungry dog watching a bone. Creepy, Rachel agreed. So there's another mystical. Marco is supposed to be the smart one.
Marco finally figures out it might be a cult.
No, Marco thought it was a cult, and then he decided it wasn't a cult, and now he's like, maybe it is a cult. Marco immediately guessed it was a cult. Good idea, Cassie said. I'd do it too, but the only morph I can do is a horse. They would notice a horse. Tobias, get a grip. Don't start eating mice just because you're in a hawk's body. What's next? Roadkill? Waka waka.
He didn't say anything.
Or worse, maybe he wasn't offended.
Imagine making a joke that your friend's going to eat roadkill and they just, like, stare at you silently.
Yeah. Animal instincts taking over. Oh, here's where they're heavily foreshadowing once again. Tobias, you've been in that body for more than an hour. Nah. No, Tobias. Nah. I don't have clothes. We brought clothes for you.
We assumed this would happen.
I hate clothes. I love how they knew. I'll look the other way so your delicate boy modesty isn't offended. Rachel, would you not?
Like,
what?
Maybe
are you making fun of Tobias for not wanting to be seen naked by four of your not that close friends? His delicate boy modesty? What the shit? Does Rachel just like strip in front of Cassie? And Jake's like, you were cousins, no big deal. Also, a chipmunk in the sand?
Okay, so I don't know much about chipmunks. I don't ever picture them on a beach.
Yeah, they're not. They would just... No one cares about a stray dog. Yeah, it's a huge golden retriever named Homer. Oh, how freaking 90s children's book is it? The assistant principal is a controller. That's so dumb, school caper. How non-threatening is that? A middle school vice principal is like a high-ranking member of the year army.
Yeah, why would you ever bother being a middle school?
Even if you're gonna argue, like, well, he has, like, power with a lot of people. Like, those people are children. Why do you want children? Children are useless. They're weak and they can't get away with anything. Like, kids are always being watched.
It's like... Also, middle school's like the stupidest school because
it's also the smallest.
If you want to brainwash kids, you go for the tiny kids.
And if you want people that can help you,
I mean to take over the world. Wait, what did you say? And if you want kids that can get away with shit, go for the high school kids.
Or at least people that can have some force. Because high schoolers are at least have some strength and capability.
Yeah.
Middle school, and also middle school is the smallest one.
Yeah.
Because it's only 3 years. He calls it a slug again, just showing off that he knows words now. Vice Principal Chapman. Oh, the policeman again.
I also love that this policeman has come across these kids that are in the most suspicious place ever. Twice now.
I know,
and they're both suspicious for the same reason, and he hasn't put it together. Come on. You killed that homeless guy for no real reason. Why not just kill the kids for no real reason too? Might as well.
Also, if they had infested that homeless, I assume they just killed him, even though they were trying to catch them. If they had infested that homeless man, then he saw Jake's face, right? So, did they kill him?
I can't assume they killed him.
Because they definitely didn't just leave him.
They wouldn't have had, a yerk slug on them, would they?
No, but, still, they wanted to catch them. Well, I guess for some dumbass reason they still thought they were Andalites, so if they saw a human, they would be like, oh, just a dumbass human, kill it. I guess that makes sense, even though the Andalite could have morphed a human.
And then they're looking for some teens who are human.
Yeah, but they have nothing. I guess they just think that they witnessed something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but still.
The Yerks are not smart. I've got to say that.
Well, I mean, look who's leading them. Look who is their leader. Okay, the good leader doesn't show up till book 5. Okay, right now they have Visser 3, freaking ANTAREAN BOGG morph taking a bite out of your enemies.
Taking a bite out of your enemy.
Oh God, did you say that in an American accent?
I tried. I can't do accents, I'll be very real with you.
God, that policeman is they're so stupid. A bunch of kids start turning up dead, and people will definitely notice. Okay.
The thing is, if they, like, researched them, they would know they could easily kill Tobias without anyone caring, apart from the kids.
Yeah, it's shocking how much no one cares that Tobias has vanished.
Yeah.
Like, he was enrolled in school.
Yeah, Tobias vanishes, and the teachers don't even care.
And, like, the government, like, I mean, I get that his aunt and uncle don't care.
Yes, that I understand.
But
you think the school would be at least be like, why haven't he shown up? My attendance record is sucking.
And also, he says, I don't remember if he says this, so I mean, big spoiler, but like he says that his aunt's shitty thing is that she like always orders him around. In the TV show, it's because she calls him Toby and he doesn't like it.
So you named your cat Toby?
Shut up. It's like it's not like she like treats him bad and she like makes him work and do everything for her and like orders him around. So wouldn't she notice if like her personal servant just disappeared?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't she want him? Like she doesn't want him, but she also does. You know?
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like she would notice. His uncle is just like weird and drunk, but like, you know, that's what he says. Yeah. I don't think Tobias would lie. Yeah. It's actually just that his aunt calls him Toby, but he feels like that sounds wimpy, so he's making up like a better excuse. Cassie, listen to the animals that Cassie lists and remember what morphs these kids end up getting.
I don't know.
So Cassie says, let me think. We have a lot of injured birds. We have the wolf with a broken leg, and we have the wildcat with one eye. Do they use those very powerful wolf and wildcat morphs?
No.
And birds that can get around very easily? No, Cassie morphs a fucking horse. In the yeark pool, she morphs a horse.
Also, one of them's got a tiger and one of them's got a gorilla. Like, those are the most obvious fucking things in the world.
Yeah.
They're in a totally not obvious place in America. And now, I'll admit, I've never been to America, but I don't think there's that many tigers and gorillas running around.
Well, that shows how ignorant you are about world geography. Oh, and I guess they just want to build up to them turning into like insects and stuff, or at least a mouse. Like, isn't an anal lizard? It's probably a knoll, but isn't an anal lizard a weird choice? Like, is that going to be the first thing you think of, and not mouse?
Yeah, honestly, like,
or just squirrel. Well, squirrel's a little big, but like a mouse.
Yeah, like, they have these animals because of Cassie, but, like, that wouldn't be the first animal I think of.
But as if there wouldn't be a mouse in a barn.
Yeah. There'd be a mouse, there'd be a fly, they'd turn into a fly in the
Then it's also a lot more normal, unless these kids are in Brazil, it'd be a lot more normal to see, I mean, it would be upsetting, probably, but if you were, like, staff, but it'd be a lot more normal to see a mouse running around a school than it would be a green anal lizard.
Yeah.
A bright lime green anal lizard. And also, it's just a lizard. He's like, it's so creepy and gross. Like, it's
just a lizard.
I wouldn't feel gross touching a lizard.
Yeah. I'd feel gross eating a spider, but touching a lizard is fine.
Yeah. Oh, I think around here is...
You cut out. You just went, I think around here is... And then I heard laughing.
Oh, I think around...
You did it again.
God damn it.
You madman. This time you went, I think around...
God damn it. Okay, let me try it one more.
You cut off there. You said, let me try one more.
Alright. Please laugh now, because it's going to be shit out. But I think around here was when Marco called... Fuck off. Okay, forget it. I'm not going to say it. When he's turning into the lizards. I think around here is when Marco...
You cut off again.
You're a piece of shit.
You went, I think this is where Mark...
What is with this? I think around here is when Marco calls Jake an ethnic slur.
my eyes. The build up to that was amazing.
Thank you. See, it was too good of a joke to not say, but like, I was just getting so frustrated.
That was so good.
I'm right.
That was amazing. Oh my god, there are tears in my eyes.
Oh, wait. No, we skipped Marco coming up with the word Animorph.
Oh yeah.
Which he drops that word really, really casually, and you know he was coming up with that name for days.
Absolutely.
Like, how long did we spend trying to think of something better than Anihawks? Like, Marco was thinking, it's not a great name, but it's the kind of name that he did think about it for days.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, you say you don't want to join this group, but this is pretty suspicious. It sounds so lame. But, like, Animorph. I tried the word out. It sounded okay. He thought about it for days. Like, since he learned that, since he heard of morphing, he was just trying to think of it. This is why he's been so grumpy, because he's been so frustrated he couldn't think of a good name. Oh god. Oh my god.
Now, if I was there, I'd come up with a great name.
Yeah, like Anihawks. I bet Animorph, like, he doesn't, oh my god, no, Animorph wasn't even, like, his final pick. He had a better name, or Animorph was just the first thing he thought of, but he didn't like it, like us. He didn't actually like it, but, like, when the moment came, it just slipped out. And in a deleted scene, he's, like, trying to get them to, like, pick up his new, better name, but Animorphs has stuck. Oh my god. Yeah. After that point, Marco is, like, being friendly and joking around.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, that was what was stressing him out. He finally was like, oh my god, no, he was embarrassed. That's it. He was embarrassed about what a stupid name it was. And so he was like, I don't want to say, and finally just came out like, Animorphs. And then when everyone else, like, was receptive, they're like, oh, that sounds fine. And it's like breath of fresh air. Everything's good now. Okay. Back to normal, Marco.
Yeah.
So they get a decent morphs. They get their first morph ever, besides the dog. And that is the morph that they will stick with for 60 books.
I love your work in King Kong versus Godzilla, Marco told the Age.
Oh, God. What an idiot. I guess Marco and I looked more suspicious because he chose us. They, like, split into groups. And the security guard is trying to guess who's more threatening. And I don't know why he chose him and Marco.
Because he's a big boy.
Oh my god, yeah. He thinks Jake is like a big man. Just kidnapping this small child, Marco. That's what's happening. It's like okay, there's two girls and some random little wimp. But then here's this big man.
My next note is, got chased by tigers in a zoo today, lads.
It's a good joke.
Thank you. I'll be here all night.
They're so dumb. And the girls not believing them that they, like, when they went into, the tiger cage and almost died is, like, honestly, comedy gold.
Yeah. It would have been absolutely hysterical if they died and that was the end of the Animorphs.
Oh yeah, that'd be so funny. The most annoying thing was that none of them even believed our story. Marco and I were a little resentful over that. We could have been killed, Marco pouted. Really, I'm telling you, it was down to a few inches. Yeah, whatever, Rachel said. Sure. Like, they could have just shown them. Yeah. But they would never morph they would never practice morphing before the moment of battle because they're 13 and idiots. It's like, I should have practiced morphing like Cassie said. Yeah, maybe.
Mayhaps.
And then Tom's like, I have things to do. And his father says, a girl.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus.
Oh, and there's this great quote about trace minerals.
He's like 16. Oh, yeah. You know how much I love trace minerals. He craves that mineral.
He craves those trace minerals.
Would say. It's full of trace minerals and vitamins you can't get anywhere else. Catherine Applegate says up on her soapbox.
It's also, that's such a weird thing to say as well. It's full of trace minerals. What the fuck? Are we sure she's not a yerk as well?
Trace mineral? I mean, she definitely could be. She's not doing a very good job of hiding it. Why is everyone sneering in this book? Yeah, that's it. Happy now? Tom sneered. I don't even know what a sneer is. Oh god, and they're calling each other on landlines. Very sneaky, very discreet. Cassie's missing, I said. And where's Tobias?
Where on earth could Tobias be?
Just points up. Where is he? What is the matter with him? And he's like, he's got a 2-hour time limit. We don't know how long this is going to take. As if he couldn't just tell Tobias to demorph and remorph.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, here it is. It's like Tobias, where he gets like, he sounds like jealous. He's like, Tobias swooped down and perched on Rachel's shoulder. It surprised me a little. Why would Tobias perch on Rachel's shoulder? And she didn't seem at all annoyed. She rubbed her head against him a little. It's like, calm down. What? It surprised me a little. It annoyed me. Like, chill. This was not starting off right at all. The bad feeling in my stomach was just getting worse. Rachel makes a joke and no one laughs, and I know she was furious about that.
Oh god. I have a single oh, sorry, I have 2 notes from this entire action-filled rescue scene.
I only have 1. Me too, I have 1.
One of the notes is, I want to fic where they rescue Tom and he joins the squad. Because I think that would be good.
Oh my god, and also, yes. There definitely is some.
There's got to be. Yeah. And then the second one was, they actually managed to free a woman, but I don't think she's ever mentioned again.
No, hold on. We're not there yet. That's Tobias, I said, I need you to use your hawk's eyes. Alright, so now we're there. We don't care. They're always moaning and sneering.
Yeah. It's incredible.
It's like, oh man, Marco moaned. It's true. He sneered. You have a better idea? I snapped. Sometimes you can just say said. It's okay, Catherine.
It's incredible.
Some superior aliens. You think they could have put it in an elevator. Waka waka. Here it's just dark and sad with all these horrible things happening, and so we can just skip over it. They're just at the yerk pool, and all the humans are crying because they're sad and prisoners, slaves in their own mind. It's terrible. Tom is not a voluntary controller. Jake is very happy about that.
Tom is swearing up.
Which I guess I would be a little relieved, but Jake is a little too happy when Tobias is like, yeah, he's in a cage. He's screaming his brains out. And Jake is like, yes!
Fuck yeah, my brother's a slave.
Fuck yeah! Somehow the man hadn't seen Rachel, quote of the entire series. How do they not see these idiot children? Rachel morphs an elephant, I think. Yeah. Oh, here's another weird quote. My cousin Rachel now stood almost 13 feet high and weighed about 14,000 pounds. The weird thing was, I was happy about all this.
No.
What? What a weird thing to say. Rachel began twitching her little rompy tail. No, her little ropey tail?
Oh my god.
What? Rachel was moving, and no little flesh wound was going to stop her. And then I saw Marco, big
Big Jim's massive body was ripping its way out of Marco's slight frame. Just call me King, Marco said. King Kong.
Marco's like, call me a manlet one more time, Jake, I swear to God. His slight frame. And, like, I mean, gorillas are tough as shit, don't get me wrong. But I feel like gorillas also don't have much in the way of, like, defense. Like, I don't know, I feel like Marco's doing a little too well. Oh, this is so weird. Would you be reassured by this? Marco, he's freeing the hosts. Marco began ripping out a lock on one of the cages. The lock gave way, the door flew open. Marco did something very human to reassure them. He made a little bow and crooked his finger at them, as if to say, come on out. Would you be more, or would you be less, or a lot more scared? I would be terrified. If it was a gorilla, I'd just be like, oh my god, like, I'd think it was like a crazy, I don't know whether I would think that, like, wow, this gorilla's so smart, and the gorilla's, like, trying to save the humans, even though it's a gorilla, or if I would be like, this is just, like, a weird coincidence, like, wow, I'm so thankful that this crazy gorilla did this, but I definitely would not feel better about this gorilla acting like a human.
Especially after seeing it kill some aliens, like...
It also is once again suspicious, because an Andalite wouldn't do that. And this host definitely got recaptured.
I mean, what's an Andalite?
What do you mean, what's an Andalite? You saw one get bored.
Oh yeah, they were explained earlier. Never mind. What's a human?
I dodged around Hork-Bajir. I practically flew, but I couldn't really fly. Not the way Tobias
Not the way Tobias could.
What a weird thing to say.
Down he came like a bullet.
Oh, it's because Tobias shows up. I thought you just mentioned that. I don't know. I saw him high in the cavern. Down he came like a bullet. Oh, here's Tobias's first gouging eyes out. That's Tobias's running theme. He gouges out eyes. And Cassie plowed into the crowd and just morphs a horse. And also, they established very early on that morphing takes about, like, 2 minutes or so. Like, 2 full minutes. And they proceed to never, ever take 2 minutes. Like, do you think while Cassie was within this mob of, like, screaming, terrified, desperate people rushing out all at once, do you think she took 2 minutes to morph into a horse unnoticed?
Absolutely. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I buy it 100%. I mean, it's Cassie.
Of course.
She just dove into the cave, the rock, like... I'm sorry, I love this idea of, like, Cassie, whenever she's in trouble, the earth itself just, like, reacts to protect her. Because she's, like, a nature goddess. This 13-year-old nature goddess.
Oh my god.
I could see Rachel's towering gray bulk, just a head. They, like, hyphened it weirdly. A head. Not a head.
A Taxxon stood up beside Vista 3 and spoke. It was a weird half-whistling sound. True.
That is... I have never heard a Taxxon, but I'm certain that that is not what they sound like. Oh my god. The amount of times that they call Vista 3 dainty is really funny.
Vista 3 is a twink.
Jake is just like high on his like big man stick. Like he just goes around calling everyone else manlets. Vista 3 is like great adult male Andalite warrior body is like not going to appreciate being called dainty.
Oh god. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Vista 3 thinks that they're Andalites, because Vista 3 is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
What's upsetting is that everyone else...
I also love the line, I acquired this body on the 4th moon of the 2nd planet of a dying star. Like it. How is that relevant? That is not relevant at all.
I don't know.
And we got these bodies at the zoo.
He just loves to boast. I got these. No, not the zoo. The gardens. The gardens can and will come back. The garden.
Also, I like how he was like, it's like a zoo but better, and then described a zoo.
Yeah. I know exactly what he's talking about, and they don't have many of those places. I think there's maybe 3 things. He's talking about busch gardens. It's obvious. And I think there's a maximum, there's got to be like 3 busch gardens in the entire country. So It's either in Virginia, I think it is, Florida, or one more place.
I do not know.
We also could never look up where Catherine Applegate lives. I swear. The funny thing is that people, like, to this day, people, like, some people, like, aren't sure on where these books take place. Like, people think that they take place. I remember some people thinking that they took place in, like, around New Mexico. And I was like, but it's so obvious where they are. You probably know, or I probably told you by now, but, like, I don't know. Like, I guess we'll keep going until, like, well, I'll reveal when something happens that makes it abundantly clear what state they're in. There's another Visser 3 morph. Described in great detail. We're going to skip that. Oh my god, wait, I never noticed that Cassie had two people riding on her back, and one of them, like, got hit with a ball of fire and fell off and died. That's brutal. Yeah, it says, a ball of flame flew like a missile. It skimmed through the air and splattered again. Also, splattered? It's fire. And splattered against the back of one of the women riding Cassie. Ah, she fell off, screaming and rolling around to put off the flames. Cassie kept going with only one rider. Cassie of all, like, I understand, like, you would just keep going logically, but Cassie would be the one to, like, stop and, like, try to help as a horse.
Absolutely.
Try and help this woman. Cassie's like, no, fuck this, I'm out of here. And trumpet in terror is a great phrase.
I love how Tom is just trying to fight these aliens as a human.
Tom in my notes, I have Tom attacks Visser 3 and dies. What does it say? Oh, yeah, all alone, he charged at Visser 3, armed with nothing but his fists. One of the Visser's arms came down and swung at him. I saw Tom stagger from the Visser's blow and fall from the edge of the stairs.
Like, fucking die.
Tom is dead. You would not survive that.
Tom, are you a yerk? Tom is dead.
Tom just died. That's actually my last note. Tom has died. Oh, well, my last note is just Tobias getting trapped in MORPH is foreshadowed so much.
My last note is literally just, he's a hawk.
It's good to see you, Jake. How are the others? Jake acting like he didn't see this coming from a mile away. I nodded and wiped away my tears. Yeah, I said. Until then, we fight. Dun 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 dun. It's
no running back, no front for thingy thing. No, it's time to run. It's time to think. Animals.
So, what did you think?
I think the first book was fascinating. Great lines about people being, what was the word?
There was a few words.
90s word that he called Visser 3.
Freakazoid?
Yeah, a few good lines about people being freakazoids. Big fan of that.
Alright, so would you say that this book held up from the 90s?
Yeah. I
think so too, like... I can definitely tell that I haven't read this book in a while. Actually, it's not one of my favorites.
You can tell that it was written in the 90s. Yeah, absolutely. But it's not unbearable.
It's extraordinarily dated, but it's not like, at least to me, it's not like bad.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily. It's kind of endearing. It's not like cringy how dated it is.
It's absolutely endearing. Like. Are you kidding? Freakazoid? That's endearing as hell.
Yeah. It is in general, these references, like, I don't know. They definitely do not talk like, I'm almost certain they do not talk like how actual kids in the 90s talked.
But are you completely certain?
Absolutely not. But you can also tell that, Applegate, like, she definitely, like, did research, It's like, she wasn't just, she didn't just, like, write from her ass. Like, I'm sure it's not spot on. If you were a teen in the 90s, you would be cringing really hard. Well, maybe not, because, kids loved these books.
Yeah.
But potentially you would be cringing. Yeah. But, like, she came at it from a place of love, basically.
Yeah.
It wasn't, She wanted to write some good kids. Some good kids.
Excellent kids.
Even though Marco was an asshole for a long time. Yeah. So I just have one more. I can't wait for you to go through all this and edit it. I can definitely help. But I just have one more activity that I would like to do.
Okay.
I call it the list of things that may or may not come back in the future. It's basically all like a bunch of random things, and some of them will come back, and some of them won't come back. And it's just your job to guess which will and which won't.
Okay.
Basically. So the first one, the concept Hork-Bajir good, Taxxon bad.
Will come back.
So for that, like, will that continue to be the case? Or is that just some bullshit for this book?
That will absolutely come back, and it will still make no sense.
All right. Number 2, Elfangor's weird emotion transferring thing that makes all the kids calm down.
Yes, that will come back.
Okay, that'll come back. Visser 3 having never met Elfangor.
No, that will never come back.
Vor.
Yes, that will definitely come back, and it will be named. It was actually named by the Animorphs series.
Tobias's cat dude.
Will never come back.
Okay.
Which I think is a tragedy, but I also don't see it ever coming back.
Morphing does not heal Tobias.
Will come back, but only later. They'll forget about it for a while.
Okay. So I'm not saying how I meant that, but the way I wrote that, do you see it as Tobias specifically or anyone?
Anyone.
All right. So morphing doesn't heal people.
Yes.
All right. Cassie being weirdly good at morphing.
I don't know. Yes, but like it'll be really weirdly put every single time.
Okay.
And this is my friend Cassie. She's really good at morphing.
Do you think there would be if it comes back, would there be a reason for it? Or is it just because Cassie's a nature spirit?
Because she's a nature spirit.
All right.
She likes nature, so she's good at morphing.
Okay. But the morphing technology can just sense that.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Tobias's aunt and uncle
will come back. Will come back. Absolutely.
All right.
Not as often as it probably should.
Okay, but they will come back at some point.
Yes.
All right. And the one woman that escaped the Yeerk pool and knows a lot.
I don't think she will ever come back, which I think she absolutely should. Because, goddamn, that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's quite a pretty big loose thread.
But I don't think it will come back.
So these are pretty interesting results. Some of them you got right, some of them you are completely wrong. So we'll see. Okay. We don't have an outro.
We do not. I can just fade in my special version of the Animorphs intro theme.
Alright, so goodbye everyone. Hopefully we will have an episode 2.
Yes, hopefully this will come out at some point.
Oh, wait. Give us 1 second. 1 second. What do you predict will happen in the next book?
Well, I think this will be about Yeerks and of course
give us one specific detail.
Tobias will be a hawk in it. It turns into a psychological horror as each of the Animorphs slowly begin to lose their sense of self, culminating in forgetting their own names.
Thank you.